What's up, guys? It's Memo. Hope you're having a great day. Today, we're going to talk about how I deal with anxiety as a music producer. So there's 4 things I want to talk about, or 4 things I feel anxious about that I thought we could talk about. And then at the end, I thought maybe I could share a couple of ways that I deal with the anxiety. So the first thing is this feeling of feeling behind. That's what I get anxious about. So I'm 28 years old right now, and a lot of times I just feel, looking at other people that are my age or people that are younger than me that are being more successful than me, it can be discouraging. I grew up always loving music, and I always wanted to pursue, I wanted to be like a rock star, but I always felt like when I was like 18 years old, I graduated high school, and I always felt like maybe if I had not gone to college and just pursued, maybe I would be making something of myself now. But instead I went to college, and I went to college for something like completely off from what I wanted to do. I was doing civil engineering, which is like, a great profession. It wasn't for me. I remember my 4 years in college, they were great, but it was also like, I was looking at other people that were like 18, 19, 20, 21, that were like becoming famous and touring and doing exactly what I want to do. And here I was like in college, like studying like a major that I wasn't even like fully interested in. And then when I graduated college, I was like, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pursue full-time, music. That's all I'm going to do. And I I've been trying that, but I also realized I needed money. So I eventually started like doing other jobs that had nothing to do with music just to be able to pay the bills and stuff. And every year that passes by, I start to feel like I'm falling more and more behind. So it's something that I definitely do start to feel anxious about. The second thing that I get anxious about is this feeling of like I'm not good enough for a music career. So like there are certain skills that I feel like I have, like I feel like I'm pretty okay at the guitar, and my songwriting skills I don't think are the worst. But like when I see other producers, it like I feel like very not as accomplished as them. I'm like, damn, like how did they make something so creative? And like I listen to some of the beats I make, and some of them I'm super proud of, but I look at them and I'm like, man, like I wish it could sound better. And I don't know, sometimes I feel like that's what is holding me back a little bit, is this feeling of like, oh man, like I'm nowhere near as good as these other musicians. And I guess I don't really know how this relates to anxiety, but I guess it's the anxiety of like, am I ever going to be good enough for this career? But yeah, that's just something that I definitely struggle with, especially, as you can probably tell, it's comparing myself to other people. Comparison is the thief of joy, as they say. But that gets us on to number 3. The third thing is I get anxious about what people think about me. I care a lot about what people think about me, unfortunately, and I wish I didn't, but I feel like I've been a people pleaser, and I think it's a defense mechanism that I grew up with for some reason, thinking that maybe if people liked me more, and if I could keep the peace between people, people will, I don't know, I feel a sense of security and I feel safe. Not that I had a bad childhood or anything, because I think I had a great childhood. But I don't know, I think maybe somewhere along the lines something like that happened, where I started feeling insecure about myself. And I care a lot to this day, and I try not to let it bother me, but I care a lot about what people think. And so I get anxious, especially when it comes to like releasing certain things. So even releasing this video, for example, I'm getting kind of vulnerable, and I'm like thinking about like, what are my like family members going to say? What are my friends going to think of me now they hear what's really going on through my mind? And I don't know, that it's a scary thought, but I know I want to push through it because it's better than nothing. But yeah, like even releasing certain TikToks, like when I make a lot of TikTok videos, and I mean, y'all might see me and be like, oh wow, this guy, like he just like makes whatever he wants. And it's like, I don't know, for me, a lot of time I'm very insecure about like what I put out there, because I'm like, what I put out there, people are gonna have to watch. Like sometimes I'll just like put things out and I'll just like not want to look at the reactions, because I'm like, I just kind of like feel like it's a void. But then I get hit like with a reality when I like go and hang out with like friends later, or I go and hang out with my family later, and they like bring up this TikTok, like, oh, you made a TikTok about this and this. And like, even if they're not judging it, or even if they're not even like saying anything bad about it, even if they're complimenting me about it, I feel like, oh man, you actually saw it. Like, you weren't supposed to see that, even though like I'm like posting it on my page for people to be seeing. So I don't know. It's funny, but that's stuff I get anxious about. And the fourth thing that I'd say I get anxious as a music producer is, it's kind of a weird one, but I get anxious about getting successful as well and not knowing how to handle it. One thing that I am grateful for is maybe because I'm a little older and I've gone through a little bit more life experience. I feel like now, if if things start to pop off now, I might be able to handle my life a little bit better than I would have if I was 18 or 21, which is definitely, knock on wood, a very big blessing. But that is still something that scares me a little bit. It's like, what if one day I did get everything I wanted, and like, I don't know, something about that's just kind of it's like something you've always wanted. Like, I've always wanted, I guess, music. I've always wanted to be famous and all that stuff. But it's like, what if that's what I got? And I guess maybe the thing I keep thinking is like the baggage that comes with it. Like, I'm scared of like, what if I don't like being famous? What if it like, I'm like walking around and people are like recognizing me, and I'm like, no, please don't recognize. I'm just trying to get groceries, or like, I don't know, maybe it gets to my head and it changes me or something. I don't know. Or maybe I fall in with the wrong crowds. I don't know. It's stuff like that I get like a little anxious about, because I feel like sometimes I'm still finding my identity in who I am. And, a little bit of that is like, what if I, get this fame, and this fame starts to shape me, or the success starts to shape me, or what if, and this is one that might be even harder it's a harder pill to swallow, which I feel like is going to end up happening, unfortunately, is, what if I got everything I wanted and it wasn't what I thought it was? Just let that sink in for a second. Like, what if I got everything I wanted and then I still was not happy, Because I always felt like, oh, once I get it, I'll be happy. And I feel like it's probably the truth, right? People say you don't get happiness from your career, or true happiness, but that's something that scares me. It's like, what if I do all this stuff and then it just ends up not being what I thought it was? Anyways, I don't want to leave on a downer. So let's go ahead and jump right into some strategies. I got a couple. I might make some up on the top of my head. Some strategies that I do to try to relieve myself of anxiety. So first things first is a mindset shift. One thing that I always think about, or I think a lot about when I'm feeling anxious, is that like, yo, I got one life. Like, bro, I got this life, okay? If I'm gonna be here, let me at least be it to the fullest. You know what I mean? Because I'd rather do it and fail than not have ever done it before, if that makes sense. Like, the thought of me completely like neglecting that part of my life and being like, no, you're just gonna ignore it, we're never gonna try this, that scares me more than never doing it in the first place. Like, I'd rather fail and do it and be like, okay, at least I tried it and gave it my full, honest, true self. I did it with all my heart, than to just be like, no, it's too hard, I'm just gonna quit, and I don't want to do this because I'm scared. So that's one thing that reminds me, that makes me think of that. Also, it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, bro, we're only here for 80 to 100 years or whatever, right? Like, in like 100 years, like, most of the people on earth, no one's gonna remember. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, what I'm feeling now is not like the end of the world. I might be like, oh my God, like, if I post this video and like I get all these negative comments on it, like, that's it, like, I can't do this anymore. But it's like, bro, like, in a week, are those negative comments gonna make a difference? In a year, are those negative comments gonna make a difference? I don't know, probably not. And I don't know, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's like, does it really matter? Does it really matter? Probably not. People aren't thinking about you as much as you think they are. And if they are, they should be thinking about other things. Okay, there's better things to be thinking about than me. So that's one thing I do. The other one is just doing self-care stuff. So simple things like, I love going for walks and talking to God while I'm going for these walks, and it's just so peaceful to me. I feel like it's like meditation for me. Or hanging out with friends. I love hanging out with friends or hanging out with my family. I just feel like energized by their presence, and I just feel like a normal person. They did a study. It was like one of the the longest studies of all time. It was like a Harvard study, and it was like 75 years or something like that. And they found that apparently that the people that were the happiest were those with the most meaningful relationships. And I could not agree more. The times that I've been the happiest have just been those small intimate moments with my friends, with my family. Like those moments, you can't replace those. You genuinely just can't replace those. So that to me is huge. I'm also in therapy, so that helps for sure, having a professional person talk with you every couple of weeks, just to get some things off my mind, so that really helps as well, and give you strategies to combat it as well. But yeah, at the end of the day, I would rather be doing this than more than anything else. For me, this is such an important part of my life. It has been such an important part of my life. I just am very passionate about music producing and making music, and I would rather take this kind of anxiety than any other kind of anxiety. So yeah, I hope you have a great day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow, or I guess they're the same thing. And I'll see you next time. Peace.